I have the President's Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, who joins us from Abuja. Thank you so much, Malam Shehu, for joining us tonight on the program. What does this mean? Because a lot of people are already reacting, saying perhaps, well, this might be due to security reasons. Well, May 29, for 16 or more years, we've seen inauguration and transition of government as a fanfare where world leaders will come. What do we know now?
Well, thank you for giving us this chance to speak to you. And to say that what this means is that the president who recognized June 12th as the country's democracy day wants to activate that day, wants to present it to the world as Nigeria's most important as far as democracy is concerned. Let me say emphatically, it is important that the president and the governors are being inaugurated on the 29th. Constitutionally, that must take place because their four-year term, 2015 to 2019, expires on the 29th. However, the president would be swearing an oath, will be taking the oath of office as would the governors be doing, but the big ceremonies associated with the inauguration have been deferred to June 12th in order that we empower, we activate this day in a big way, and the international gathering will be there.
So what major difference will it make anyways? Now, because we're used to May 29, the swearing in of the president, what other activities have you lined up? So in essence, you're saying that the president will be sworn in into for a second time in office within the walls of the Aso Villa. Is that it?
No, absolutely no. This event will take place at the Eagle Square. There will be I don't want to preempt the major press conference by the Minister of Information on Monday, which he has called. But to say that, yes, it will take place at Eagle Square. There will be representation by the missions in the country, embassies, and all of that. But the heads of state, a large number of whom had indicated interest to come, whether at the level of president or ministerial level, delegations will come, but we are welcoming them on the June 12th. We wanted the world to see June 12th as this country's most important as far as democracy is concerned.
I know this is the time that you break your fast. Stay with us, Malam Garba Shehu. You will soon go back to your dining in a moment. Let's get some perspective also from an experienced former member of federal cabinet, a senior advocate of Nigeria, and a former minister of defense, Mr. Adetokunbo, who joins us from our Abuja studio. It's good to see you, Mr. Kayode. What does this mean? When you were in government, I know at some point, we perhaps did not hear of anything low-key in this kind of celebration. As a lawyer, what are the ramifications legally when we're transiting in making a day, validate a day such as June 12th as Democracy Day? What does this mean? Give Nigerians some perspectives on this.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. First of all, the May 29th is sacrosanct for swearing in of the president, and that ceremony could be done anywhere. Could be done in the president's office, could be done in the villa, could be done at the Eagle Square. And I think prudence actually determines that it could be done in a low-key fashion because of the ceremonies that may come on June 12th. So I think it's regular, it's okay. Now, on declaration of June 12th as the National Democracy Day, again, that's been oncoming, expected over a long period of time. Under the National Holidays Law, the federal government can declare any date as public holiday for whatever reasons. So all these are okay. You know, holidays cost money. It costs the economy and it costs the people. Secondly, ceremonies cost money.
On a day like this, especially when it's not a transition from one government to the other, it's what? A re-election, which, of course, when you were in government with the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, we saw that kind of situation where he was re-elected. In this kind of situation, what are your expectations, especially in terms of cabinet reshuffling? A lot of people have talked about it. The president did say he will do that. What are your expectations?
Well, this is a season to talk about cabinet reshuffle, about new people coming in, old people going out. But for me, the main issue really is setting an economic agenda for government. Whichever personnel is being changed or are retaining their portfolios, the most important is to have a clear plan for the new approach to our security and at the same time a new approach to our social economy. The economy is hurting, the society is hurting because of security issues, and whatever decision the president takes, he must keep in mind that these two issues, the security and the social economy, must be paramount. That's my own attitude, and that can be done if he charges his new team with a directive, a clear directive as to what he wants done in line with his politics, which is that of security and the economy. He has made it clear that he will always keep the security paramount. Also, the welfare of Nigerians will be paramount. So these two issues are very critical, and they go hand in hand. So he has to charge them. There has to be very clear-cut guideline and a plan as to how it will be implemented. For me, having said that, it really doesn't matter who it brings, whether it brings in your typical politician or your typical, in quotes, technocrat, or even people from the university. It doesn't matter. The important thing is there must be a clear guideline as to what has to be done to resolve these two critical challenges.
Mr. Kayode, I mean, because we have the benefit of speaking to you now, senior advocate. So before I touch on the issue of true federalism and get your take on that, let me put you right on the spot. And if you are to advise the president, perhaps the kind of energy that he has presently in his cabinet, you have been a former cabinet member, what kind of people that he has presently would you advise him to retain? And what kind of people would you advise him to introduce in his second term in office? Briefly.
Well, I'm happy you agree that you want to put me on the spot. I'm not in a position to advise Mr. President, but I think that he has to look for people who he believes will deliver on his mandate without it will be relevant where they come from. But the most important thing is that he has to have this conviction that this crop of Nigerians will be able to deliver for him what he wants done, and also relieve him of this burden. It's a heavy burden because the cabinet is to support the president. It has to work for the president based on the dynamics of the situation and the directives given by the president. The president wants the security issues resolved. He wants the social economy resolved. So he needs to put in people who can do this. And how do you do that? These have been, maybe we have not done it in the past, but clearly the president needs to put in a means of doing peer review for ministers. Peer review whereby if you are not able to perform, nobody will ask you to resign. You will just leave. There has to be monitoring and evaluation. Again, those are presidential issues. There are tactics and strategy for that. But so if you cannot perform within the first 3-6 months, you will state yourself and you.
All right, Mr. Kayode,
calling you 40%.
All right, let me bring in Malam Garba Shehu quickly, since we have him here. Quickly, I will throw two questions at you, very unusual, kind of double-barrel question. But the first one will be, when are we likely to hear the president name a new cabinet or his new ministers for the second term?
Sorry, what is the key word there? What is the minister?
When are we likely to see the president name? Because he was asked when he returned to the country when he's going to do that, and who are those the people who will be in the cabinet. He said he had this close to his chest. Tell us now that we have you on the program. When are we likely to hear the president? Is he on the 29th of May or on June 12th, a new cabinet?
Well, I'm happy you have yourself said the president is keeping it to his chest. And that is what we are also seeing here. Will the president announce the cabinet before May 29 or before June 12? I don't have that answer. What are we likely to see in the new cabinet? The only hint that we have received from the president is when he had said repeatedly that he was preparing a bigger role for women and youth. We hope that will be projected in the new cabinet.
Before I allow you go, Malam Garba Shehu, the president did mention that true federalism is necessary in our present democratic and political journey in the country. What does the president mean by that? Briefly, if you can tell us. Is he talking about restructuring? Does he have anything up his sleeve that he's planning to do as we enter into his new term?
Well, you know, our position has always been that restructuring is like a masquerade. Each culture, each community has its own masquerade. And so therefore, what this one says is restructuring, the other person would say, no, it isn't. Our party, the APC, had never been shy about this. We called it devolution of power from excess that is seen to be present at the center to the lower levels of government. And it's already ongoing. You can see that the president has just generated a number of actions that have freed local councils from the stranglehold of state governments. State governments have killed local government in the country. And the local governments will be back. Their life is being resuscitated. And that should be read as part of the restructuring we are doing in the country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Garba Shehu. We'll close the program, but we'll allow the former minister to close the program for us in 30 seconds. Mr. Kayode, true federalism, from what the president did say, what do you think is urgent that needs to be tackled? Just in 30 seconds so that we can close.
Well, I think the true federalism will start from the economy. We must find a way to devolve the economy to the states and from the states to the local government. As of today, we will not achieve much, whether in terms of, if we continue to emphasize the political devolution of power. I think the economy is more important, or equally important, and that it's easy also for us to do. The states have a lot of responsibility in this direction, and let them make local government work, as Garba was saying, and I agree with him. The local government has to work. Even the world, let agriculture come back to the local government. Primary school, let it be handled by the local government. Let the community development, gender issues, let it be done at local government level.
All right.
Then, of course, federal government should hands off prisons. The bulk of the, maybe 80% of people in prison today are put there by the state. Then why is federal government involved in prison administration?
All right, I think that's a good time, a good place to drop it and hang it tonight. But it's very pleasant to see you again, Mr. Adetokunbo. Since you left government, much of you have not been seen in public. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's a pleasure having you. And also, Malam Garba Shehu, let me quickly allow you to go back to your fast break and get back to your dinner. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Wherever you may be watching, you've been served on Politics Today tonight. I'm Shehu Akimale. Bye-bye.